make sure you hit subscribe. It's right over there, I swear. Or maybe it's there. It's one of them. It's a button. It's red. Click it. Listen, I know you love your linebackers, and Roquan Smith is really good. But I said this the other day. Years ago, the Golden State Warriors had a player named Monte Ellis. He was very, very good. He was their best player. But he wasn't a great shooter. And the league was pivoting to shooting, three-point shooting. And so they decided to let Monte Ellis go. He had a market, and he was their best athlete. But he'd been there a few years, and he wasn't generating enough wins. And so they went with Curry because he was the next, he's what was happening to basketball. Ellis was an all-star. Ellis was their best player. He was not a shooter. The game is changing. Roquan Smith is not getting wins for you. Outside of Moody, they don't have a dependable number 2 receiver. Their offensive line with the Bears isn't very good, and Justin Fields has to work. This can't fail. Again. And I look at Chicago's history. I can't name their top 5 receivers. I can name their top 5 linebackers, but the world's changing. I've had general managers tell me, you simply can't pay big money for a linebacker unless it's Ray Lewis or maybe Darius Leonard because he gets the ball back. And in Chicago right now, I look at Roquan Smith and he wants big money. And I'm like, I like him a lot. And he may be the second best player, first best player on the team. But if you could get a star receiver for him or a left tackle with Justin Fields, wouldn't you have to consider it?
You would have to consider it, and I'm not sure where the numbers are at, but a couple points in defense of what the Bears are doing. I was up there and I had a long talk with Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator, or the head coach now. And they are going from a 3-4 to a 4-3. And it's a 4-3. There's different types of 4-3 defenses. They are in the mold of what we did at Dallas. I did at Miami, Chicago. They are in the mold of what Tony Dungy and Lovie Smith did. And when I go back and I say, okay, Derek Brooks in that defense, they are not a blitz team. This is the team that's going to play a lot of different coverages, rush 4, and your linebackers better make a lot of tackles. And Derek Brooks was invaluable for Tampa Bay. Zach Thomas was invaluable for us at Miami. Lance Briggs, Brian Urlacher were invaluable to the Bears. All the same scheme. So I think you got to look at the scheme. And you mentioned Darius Leonard. I mean, take a look at Damari Davis. Take a look at Fred Warner. Take a look at some of the top linebackers right now, and you compare Roquan Smith to these guys, and he's got more tackles than any of them. I mean, the guy averages over 100 tackles. He's 25 years old. The Bears they will have $100 million in cap space next year. So if it's bizarre, I'm on board with you, Colin. If you came in and said, this guy's asking for more money than any linebacker in the league, Bob, on and on and on, then hey, okay, what can we get for the guy? Let's investigate it. But if he's being reasonable with us, he was in a charity event last week here in Chicago. You know, he's, what do they call the term? In-house holdout or whatever the term is. Whatever that means. So he's in all the meetings. He's working out. He's in shape. He knows the defense. You know, none of those things bother me. The guy's attending charity events around the city. In my opinion, I would do everything I could to get this thing done, unless the numbers were absurd. If they're not, this guy in this scheme of defense makes a huge difference because he never comes off the field. He plays the run. He plays the pass. He can blitz. He's got numbers to support everything. And you compare him with those top guys, in my opinion, he's right there talent-wise and production-wise with all of them. So I would take it to the last straw is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I have my concerns with Fields. They have one receiver I like, Moody, nice tight end, decent backs, but an offensive line that's ranked in the bottom 6 or 7 in the league. I think Detroit's going to be better. Minnesota's going to be better because Kirk Cousins will feel supported. Green Bay is probably not as good. I don't see light at the end of the tunnel for Chicago. Sell me on what you see.
Well, I'll tell you, I had a long talk with Ryan Poles, the general manager, and we were talking about the cap space that they're going to have, all the draft picks that they're going to have. we will know, and this is going to be a quarterback-friendly offense. I mean, they're going to give Justin Fields, it may not be the high scores offense. I mean, they're going to have to play great defense, but they're going to run the ball and they're going to move him in the pocket, misdirection plays. I mean, they're going to have enough stuff to give him a chance to make plays, which he didn't do last year. And they're going to protect them if they got to keep 7 guys in the block. They're going to do everything they can to protect them. By week 8, if we have a conversation, we'll both be in agreement. It's going to be one of those things where 50 guys in a bar see something. It's probably that way, regardless of what anybody else thinks, And so I think by mid-season, 50 people down here on this street, Michigan Avenue, in a bar, we're all going to be on the same page if Justin Fields is the future or not.
Yeah, I don't think Dave, I used to be one of these give a guy 3 years. But now with all the 7-on-7 camps, these kids come out, they're ready to play. Like, I'll give you 2 years. The timeline I use, I'll give you a year of starting.
Yep.
In the second year by Thanksgiving, I'm going to have private conversations with my GM and my owner, and I'm going to know. I really feel like I'm not going to give you – I used to be a believer in 48 starts. I'm kind of a believer in 24. Like, I'll know at 24. Like, Daniel Jones. Listen, right. He's not accurate enough. He's just not accurate enough. And, Gettleman didn't surround him with much. But I always contend that teams know sooner than they let on. I was told this years ago by an agent, a company decides to fire you a year before they tell you. What would you have to see with Justin Fields that concerned you? Like, what was something you go to the GM at Thanksgiving and go, shit, we got a problem here?
The only thing I saw coming back from Ohio State, and I've said this on the air here, the guy in 2 years starting Ohio State, he was sacked 52 times, 26 sacks a game or whatever it was, but it was over 50. I think it was 52. And I want to see, the biggest thing I want to see, I ain't worried about his accuracy or speed, or I want to see him make the decision and get the ball out quick, and help protect yourself. That's what I got to see. I got to see a quick decision and the ball coming out. And the style of offense can help that. There's no question about that. And but that's the one thing that bothered me a little bit, because the guys that they got blocking at Ohio State, they're as big as this door. Quarterback has as much to do with getting sacked as the offensive line. I mean, you got to get rid of that thing and make a quick decision. That's what I want to see.